I think that we have often undervalued the role of nurses and social workers in terms of thinking about them as leaders as we look at ending the epidemic. So there's really a lot of power, and by power I mean the opportunity on the front lines and in these patient care interactions, and then the knowledge, the inherent knowledge that frontline workers have that we need to inform how we make systems and structural changes to end the epidemic. I know this from talking to people about the early epidemic and how many folks are no longer working in the field because they've burned out. And then I know from my work currently that this is a very contemporary problem as well. And so one of the things we need to do about burnout is to start talking about it before it happens instead of after it happens. So when someone's burnt out or when there's a crisis that happens, there can be a rush to kind of sort and figure things out for that individual person. We don't really look at the systemic issues and the problems with the hierarchies and the issues with the systems that we've created that are creating this environment in which burnout is frankly an epidemic of its own. Yeah, so Show Up Hard is the name of the book I wrote, which is called Show Up Hard, a roadmap for helpers in crisis. And I really wanted to put a stake in the ground and just talk about how much guts and courage it takes to be empathetic. And really for us to think about empathy as a muscle and acknowledge that energy that it takes to be empathetic, and to not be thinking about it as a soft skill or something that we can think about after the fact, but that really it's a core part of what we can do. In fact, when it comes to medications or regimens or protocols, you can look that up. You can ask someone for that. You cannot outsource empathy. And I want us to be able to tend to the strength and courage that it takes to be empathetic and acknowledge that both for ourselves but also for others. And that will also lead to us changing the way systems work, where now, again, because we think of empathy as an extra thing or after the fact thing instead of the core part of the work that we need to do, that is what is leading to so much burnout. Yeah, the video is it's so brilliant, and I show it for two reasons. One, it helps us get really dialed in very quickly to what being empathetic is. You know, that's what an amazing videographer or storyteller does, is they get you to see the world through someone else's eyes. And this video is a great example. So it starts to help us see how we could leave our own worldview and go to see the world through someone else's eyes. So it's an active process that I want us to acknowledge as part of that empathy as a muscle piece. But I secondly do it because it's so important for us to think about all the stories that we bring with us. You know, and that's what I said to the audience today, was like, what would it look like if a video had been made of all of us as we traveled here? What are the stories that we bring with us? Both the highs and the lows, and then what capacity does it take for us to sit with each other's stories, the brightest light and the darkest dark, and hold that for each other, even as we go about this work of showing up hard for others.